right, thank you, everyone. My name is Jeff Moriarty, and welcome to Fox 10 News Now. I am sitting in for Samia Khan, who is taking the afternoon off and heading out to California. So we are going to get right into it with a whole lot of news and an update on a pretty horrific story from right here in Phoenix. So with me I have Andrew Hasbin. And thank you for joining us. First of all, I know you've been running all over the town.
It's been a busy day.
Yes, it has. So do you want to kind of give everybody a little bit of an update on the story and
sure.
What we know so far?
So if you've been following kind of the news of the day, the big story today has been a father in Goodyear. This is a father of 8 children. Well, not the biological father of 8, but this couple has 8 children together. And this yesterday afternoon, police received a 911 call from the father saying that he had just snapped and he had stabbed his wife. She died at the hospital, and obviously the investigation kicked off right away. Apparently, he just kind of got in a big fight with the whole family, and they got in an argument, and he pulled out a kitchen knife and he stabbed her 13 times. And
wow,
yeah,
okay. I had not heard that it was
all of this was
13.
in front of their children. 7 of them were home at the time. They have 8 children total. Not all of them are. It's a blended family. So some of the younger ones are between the 2 of them. They have 3 children, and then the others are from previous relationships. But altogether, they have 8 kids that they're caring for. 7 of them were at the home when this happened, and a 14-year-old even called 911 to report that something was going on. I have with me here some of the court paperwork that was filed against him, and I'll just read you some of it because it is just really horrific and really, frankly, it's the police's words are better than any words that we could say about it. Goodyear police received the 911 call at 6:15 p.m. from John Davis. That's the suspect who we're talking about. He's 37 years old, who told dispatchers he lost his mind and stabbed his wife. She was later identified as Michelle Davis. John cried hysterically on the phone and apologized. During this time, Goodyear police received another 911 call from their 14-year-old daughter, who was on the scene and witnessed John stab her mom. She frantically pleaded for help and told police John took the knife to the kitchen and cleaned it. When police arrived on the scene, John was arrested and gave incriminating statements. Michelle, that's the mom, was transported to a hospital where she died from her injuries. Investigators found at least 13 stab wounds on her back. Investigators later learned that John and Michelle have a total of 7 children. That ended up being 8. 7 of them were home at the time. All of them were present of the murder. One of them told investigators that John became upset with him. This is one of the kids telling police this, for playing video games. And because of this, John then struck the child in the face, causing a minor injury. When the child then reported this to his mom, the mom confronted John, the husband, and that's when they got into this big fight. The children witnessed John chasing Michelle from the kitchen to the front door with a knife. It was at that point where police found Michelle in a pool of blood. Unbelievable.
That is... I don't even know where to start.
I know. It is unbelievable, this story. And all of those kids, 7 of the 8 children were there watching it. And those children range in age from 3 years old to 14 years old.
So 14 being the oldest.
The oldest.
Now, the one that wasn't present, is that an older
older
child?
Yeah,
okay.
I think police said that child was 16.
And, wow, again, really, I'm honestly just kind of slipping a little bit on where to start with this. So were any of the children injured? Did any of them try to intervene?
It doesn't appear that any of them tried to intervene because it looks like this happened really quickly, just based on what we're seeing here. One child was hit for playing video games. And on top of all this, and this is what really got me kind of upset about this whole story. I mean, when we talk about warning signs,
right.
We talk a lot about warning signs. You cannot find a bigger warning sign than this. In the documents here, a criminal history revealed that John had been arrested in Utah in 2008 for domestic violence assault against Michelle Davis, that's the victim, and child abuse. In 2006, he was arrested in Modesto, California for battery against a spouse and inflicting corporal injury to a spouse. In 1998, he was arrested in Santa Rosa, California for battery against a former spouse, and in 1997, he was arrested for battery against a former spouse. I mean, if that's not a history of domestic violence, I don't know what is.
That is incredible. And so had there been, when was the last time the police were at the home for?
Goodyear police told us they were at that house 4 times, but they in the past couple of years. But it wasn't for anything that was related to this. It was an alarm going off, stuff related to like kids misbehaving or whatever. Nothing that would raise too much of an alarm. Let me look back on my notes here. There was one issue with a neighbor, I think it was.
Yeah, I was going to say
in that area. There was a verbal argument that they responded to between adults in 2013, and there was a injunction against harassment that a neighbor took out against the suspect because they were bickering over parking in the neighborhood. We know that too.
Wow.
So, but you hear warning signs in situations like this, and a couple where there's a history of domestic violence. I mean, you've been arrested 4 times.
And, I've known people who've been in abusive situations, and there's a strange mentality there. You wonder how you can stay with somebody like that.
Exactly.
And, again, I don't know the specifics on this situation, but I know you hear that a friend of mine who was in a situation like this thought, oh, the guy's going to change, and this isn't that big of a deal, and so on. And, I mean, it sounds like this guy to say he had issues is putting it extremely mildly.
Speaking of issues,
there's
there's even more. Yeah. So we did a little digging into his past because we had gotten some tips that there was some other stuff going on. And we've been able to confirm with the person who filed this injunction against harassment that this, in fact, happened and that this is the guy that we're talking about. Back in 2012, in an old neighborhood where they lived before, I'm assuming before they moved to Goodyear, there was an incident in North Phoenix where a mom of a boy was upset because the kids from these families were fighting or arguing or something was going on with them. And she filed an injunction against harassment against John Davis back in 2012. She claimed that he punched her son with a closed fist in the chest, and the man's children were there and witnessed this. When her son got home, they called police and waited in a car near the man's home. Police said they were on the way. While waiting in the car with the windows down, my husband and son heard him bragging to his neighbor about what he just did to that 12-year-old boy. And if he comes back around, he'll kill that 12-year-old boy, and everyone will see a dead boy on the news. When police got there, he quickly drove away. So this is what I was reading from you is what she claims in her order, in her injunction that she was requesting, which she received. So he was not allowed to talk to this family after they got this injunction against harassment.
Claims that he not only hit a young boy, but bragged about it.
Exactly. That's the claim in here. Now, I don't know if there was anything criminal came of this because everyone took off and there were conflicting stories of who did what. But this is what she claims in the order that was granted by a judge for him to stay away from her and her family. And I spoke to her today on the phone a few times, and she confirmed all this for us. And it is, in fact, the same guy. So, we have a situation here where there have been lots of questionable incidents over the years. Really scary stuff.
Beyond scary. So now, where are the children now? Do we know?
The children were initially put in CPS custody, or DCS, Department of Child Safety is what it's called now, and then they were moved to some other family members who are in the valley, and so the children are with family.
Okay, and
he is obviously in jail. He had his initial appearance today. The bond was set at $2 million, which is understandable. It's high for a murder. This is a first-degree murder charge that he's looking at. We have his initial appearance video, and if you want to watch it, there's an interesting part in there where they talk about possibly pursuing the death penalty against him. It's premature. They just said that they didn't say that they said that they don't have enough information at this point to determine if they're going to pursue the death penalty or not. But that it's even a question, I think, is kind of interesting.
All right, so we have his IA, or its initial appearance video, and let me bring that up.
And this is what happens when someone is arrested and booked into jail. They get to see a judge within 24 hours.
Okay.
In case in which you've been arrested for one count of premeditated murder in the first degree, that is a Class 1 felony. I have appointed the public defender to represent you. Your next court date will be on April the 2nd. That will be a status conference. The date, time, and location will be on your release order document that you're about to receive. Does the state wish to be heard in this matter?
Yes, Your Honor. Thank you. John Wendell from the Maricopa County Attorney's Office on behalf of the state, Your Honor. With regard to this matter, at this point in time, I'm unaware of such facts that would require this to be, or that we might be seeking the death penalty with regard to this particular matter. In speaking with the bureau chief of the unit that this case will probably be assigned to, she did not have enough information to provide me as to, at this point in time, whether or not that would be sought. But based on the situation itself, the charges, the facts of the situation, and Mr. Davis's prior criminal history, the state is requesting a bond of $2 million.
Mr. Davis, you need to understand, sir, that everything that's being said here is being recorded. Anything that you say could be used against you here today or at a subsequent court date. I've appointed the public defender to represent you, but that attorney is not present presently. Because I have heard from Mr. Wendell, I am going to afford you an opportunity to be heard with respect to the recommendation from the state that I impose a $2 million bond. And sir, before I took the bench, I had a very brief conversation with the deputy county attorney with respect to this matter. That's exactly what I'm inclined to do, impose a bond of $2 million. To be candid with you, sir, I doubt that there's anything that you could possibly say that would cause me to deviate from that decision. But I do have to afford you an opportunity to be heard. Do you wish to say anything, sir? I'm not going to hold it against you, and you do not have to say anything if you don't want it.
Oh, Your Honor.
Right. The bond is being set at $2 million. That is a secured bond. If you post this bond, you have some very specific release conditions. These include the following. You are not to return to the scene of the alleged crime. There are no exceptions. You are not to initiate contact with any of the alleged victims or any complainant, witness, or arresting officers. There are no exceptions. You are to have no contact with any minors. Those include your own children. There are no exceptions. You are to possess no weapons, no drugs without a valid prescription. You're not to possess or consume any alcohol. You will obviously have to find an alternative residence and provide proof of that residence if you are able to make bail. You must comply with the terms of any protective order that has been issued or will be issued. And once again, let me emphasize to you that you may not have contact of any nature with your children. Do you understand that, sir?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, please sign for your paperwork.
I have one question. If I post bail, will I be able to go with the police to my house to get some belongings of mine?
At this point in time, sir, I am not authorizing that. That is something that you could request through your attorney of the judge, the first judge that you'll see at your next court date, which is going to be next week. Did I give you that court date?
April
the
2nd.
2nd at 8:30 in the morning.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right. You're welcome.
So he didn't really say much in there except that he wanted to get clothes from his house if he's able to post bond. Interesting too, like they won't let him see his own children after that, which given the circumstances is probably understandable though.
Completely understandable, and in the care of other family members as well. I mean, if he's capable of, and so somebody asked in the chat room, what did he do? So this man is accused of stabbing his wife 13 times.
13 times in the back.
In the back, in front of basically their 7 children. And this was yesterday, or
this was last night, 6:15. That's when the first 911 call came in, and it came in from the suspect himself, claiming that he had lost his mind and stabbed his wife.
And do we have that 911 call yet?
No, we don't, but we have requested it. That'll take some time to see. But it's just an unbelievably disturbing story all around.
Yeah,
for the kids and for everyone involved, just horrific.
Yeah, I can't even conceive of that level of anger towards anyone. I mean, I've been mad at people before, but I've never been, to stab someone like that, that is beyond a crime of passion. That's just some vicious...
Well, and what it started with is shocking too. He hit his kid because he was upset because his kid was playing video games. And then when the kid told his mom about that, mom confronted him, and then things got out of control, and he stabbed her with a kitchen knife as she was running towards the front door. Unbelievable.
Absolutely insane.
So I guess the only, when you talk about what could happen to him, the only thing he probably has going for him in terms of what, a lesser punishment down the road is the fact that he didn't run away, that he called 911 and he stayed there. The only thing to make this worse than it already is if he ran away.
Yeah, but I mean, okay, so technically you're correct, but just given the horrific
Oh yeah, it's horrible.
on the other side of the coin, I can't imagine that.
It's horrible.
Yeah, this is, his name is John Davis.
John Davis Jr. He's 37 years old, and it says he was employed at a hospital in the medical field. He had been working there for 4 years and 6 months. And just to give you a little more info that's here in the court documents that I thought was kind of interesting, that he was arrested in Utah in 2008 for domestic violence. They've been married for 10 years and they have 3 children in common, but this is a family of 8 now, a blended family from different relationships, children coming in.
So, but all of the kids were one of theirs, or were they adopted?
There are 3. They have 3 children together, and the rest are belong to either one of them. And now it's a blended family. So they're from other relationships that they've brought into the marriage.
Wow. But they've been married for 10 years total.
10 years total.
Wow.
And 10. So if you do the math on 10 years, some of these charges then they date back to 2006. I have the paperwork here. So he had a 2006 arrest and a 2008 arrest.
So
those are
during
both
the
with
marriage.
her. Yeah. Unbelievably disturbing stuff. But the good news is that he's in jail.
Yes, and I'm glad that, I mean, as horrible as everything else was, to your point, he didn't run. Because if there would have been a manhunt on for this person as well, and, you know, he tried to go to Utah or flee back with family, and we had that on top of everything else, it would have just made this all the worse.
Absolutely.
And now at least we, you know, have a prime suspect, and he's in the court. So,
and there will be justice.
well, we can we can hope. You said
I don't know how.
It's going to go bananas.
Yeah.
Our courtroom is very opinionated on
I'm
whether
sure.
they think justice is served by the Arizona courts.
I don't know if in this case there's going to be much of an argument here.
Yeah, there's really not much you can say to that.
No.
Still horrible. But thank you very much for the
Absolutely.
update. I
Thank you,
appreciate that
Jeff.
and all your hard
Thank
work
you.
on that. And that was Andrew Hasbin. Appreciate him joining us as always. And again, thank you for everyone who has been joining us in the chat room here while I sit in for Sami, who I saw chime in on the way out of town. I'm drinking my own coffee, not a Starbucks, but a handmade one. Maybe I'll do coffee nerdery, one of the many things that I am nerdy about at some point in the future. So I'm waiting right now for Nicole Garcia and a little bit of an update on the Germanwings case. And not directly, and I've seen some people talking about some stuff in the chat room that is going on about the co-pilot, I guess, breaking up with his girlfriend. But we shall see if that plays out. But what Nicole has, come on up, lady.
Ready?
Yep. So Nicole has been, hello. Get your mic on there.
I don't think I've ever been on the show with you. This is a new one for me.
You've been on the show, though, right?
Yeah, with Samya,
Oh,
just
okay.
not with you.
Yes, well, I'm the second stringer, and let's get...
A talented second stringer at that.
Well, thank you very much. So, yeah, I try to get up here once in a while so I remember how everything works, and I can try to, not blow things
There's a lot
up,
of buttons
but
up here. They can't see it, but there's a lot of different buttons.
there are a lot of buttons, and believe me, I have pushed every one incorrectly at least once.
I would have pushed them all incorrectly like 3 times by now.
Yes, yeah, it's not something I can't decide if this is just something you have to do very sober or if it just makes me want to drink, one of the two. So, now you have been working today on something related basically to the Germanwings crash, and you were speaking with a pilot, yes?
Yeah, so some of the new developments that we were finding out today in this investigation is that this co-pilot hid a diagnosis of a mental illness from his employers. So according to investigators, after they searched his home, they found torn up doctor's notes saying he was unfit to fly, and had obviously not reported that to his bosses.
So pardon me for a second here. I'm kind of catching up on this. So the doctors aren't required to report that directly for pilots? It's just sort of up to them, to the pilots, to say, oh...
I think that's the case here, and I can't say for sure. I'm not part of that investigation, but I spoke with a pilot who's been, or who was a retired American Airlines pilot, has been a pilot for 30 years, and basically he says, well, unless he was seen by a flight surgeon, somebody who is a doctor that's directly affiliated with that airline, then it wouldn't have been reported to the employer. So if he went out and saw a psychiatrist, a doctor on his own that's unrelated to the company, they wouldn't have been, my understanding and his understanding is they wouldn't have been required to report that to the employer. So the other interesting question is, well, how often do pilots have to undergo any kind of mental exam or mental health screening? And the answer is they practically never have to. According to the pilot that we interviewed today, Jim Tillman, 30 years, and he says for the most part when you apply for a job as a commercial airlines pilot, you're required to pass a mental health exam. But after that, they never ask you again. It's not a requirement to pass another mental health exam to keep your pilot's license and to keep your job.
That's amazing. I guess I'm stunned for something, because I know pilots, that's a stressful job. It's draining. It's incredibly draining. You have to be alert, hyper alert for certain periods of time, and then it's incredibly boring for long stretches as well. And
you've got a lot of lives under your control. So it was surprising to me that wasn't a requirement, but apparently it's not. And so I asked him, do you think it should be a requirement to keep your commercial pilot's license at the very least? And, his answer wasn't yes and it wasn't no. It was, well, how do we effectively test for mental health? And especially in this case, when we're talking about this particular case, investigators are saying he intentionally hid that information from his employers. And in some cases, with people in mental illness, they can function or they could hide their symptoms very well, even when they're asked about it. So really, his question is, yeah, that's a great idea. Maybe this could have been prevented, but how do we really effectively screen for mental illness, especially if that person is really good at hiding it?
Well, and there's a wide range of mental illnesses too, to be fair. Some comments in the chat room, Jay mentioned HIPAA laws. So, my first thought was a little bit of surprise that the psychiatrist, the doctor, did not notify your employer, but we do have privacy laws.
Yes.
Yeah. So I guess my assumption, which I didn't realize I was making until just now, was that it was part of a mandated evaluation, like a physical or something that your work has you do, and then the results go back to them. And then, as you've now explained, that just doesn't exist. So it was somebody that he was seeing on his own, and then, of course, the doctor would not have any direct obligation to report that.
Exactly.
Confidentiality would prevent him from doing it.
And the expert we spoke with also wanted to point out, this is such a rare occurrence. Hasn't been an issue with pilots until now, or not that we know of.
Right.
So, let's not jump to conclusions and say every single pilot needs to have mental health screening, because obviously, from what we're hearing and learning from the investigation, this pilot had a specific intention. Why, we don't know, but he had a specific intention of, unfortunately, grounding that plane.
Do we know what his mental illness was, or what he was diagnosed with?
No, that exactly what it is has not been released by investigators. So what they're saying, today is they're finding these doctor notes that have obviously been torn up, saying that he's unfit to work. That would have been valid for the day that he was behind the wheel of that plane, the day of the crash.
And they were in the chat room, I haven't seen this directly, but they were saying that now there's some reports that his girlfriend had broken up with him a couple days before.
There are reports of that, but I think in light of some of this new information, investigators, I don't think are putting a lot of weight as to that maybe being the reason.
Yeah, because that's something that I think people go through their lives anyway, whereas if he had something else, mental illness is a scary thing. When you're in the middle of it, you are not thinking rationally, and it's, call somebody crazy or look at it like they did something silly, but really to them, they're just not in their
right
illness,
mind,
so to speak, and it's.
And I think the other issue too, in speaking with the pilot that I had spoken with, is, if he loved flying, if this is something that he grew up wanting to do his entire life, he wouldn't want to self-report this diagnosis to his employers, because he wouldn't want to lose his job. He wouldn't want to be prevented from doing something that he truly loved. So.
Yeah, and especially if there wasn't a formal format or program to handle this, reporting it, might be that permanent black mark that never lets him get back up in the air, versus saying, hey, he's now treated and he's certified again, and because people look at that as a horrible thing. So let's see if there's any other comments. So some clarification on HIPAA laws. It's the I used to know exactly what this stood for, but it's basically a health protection act that prevents doctors from sharing your
it's a
your
law,
medical,
that they can't reveal your medical information.
And that's U.S. law. We do have a lot of viewers from around the world, so sometimes we get people just asking, what does that mean? Things we take for granted in the U.S.
It's probably not called HIPAA in Europe or Germany, or maybe it is. We're not sure, but they probably have similar laws.
Yeah, there's similar protections and privacy laws there. So, all right. Well, thank you very much. I appreciate you coming up here.
Good being up here with you. And I just want to point out that Jeff offered me a cream-filled donut this morning, which was the beginning of the slide. So now all I want to eat and all I have been eating all day are sugary, calorie-filled sweets. But I don't regret it because I was sweet tooth. Well, see, it's your Friday, though. It's my Wednesday. I've got to work the weekend, so... something to get me through the rest of the week, right?
Well, there you go. You're putting a good spin
But I was
on it
trying
there.
to be healthy. So today I'm blaming Jeff for all my sugary cravings.
Let
He
the guilt rain down upon my head. I will own up to that. So,
Always fun being up here with you.
well, thank you very much. You have a wonderful day.
You too.
And,
And bye, everyone.
hopefully we'll get you back up here again soon.
All right, thanks.
So that was Nicole Garcia giving us an update there, and she raised a lot of really good points. And I think one of the ones that resonates with me, and I guess maybe even kind of let's make sure I keep the right microphone on, kind of a pet peeve, I guess. Maybe it's not the right word for it, but the overreaction that we tend to have to events. Things that. Yeah. I'll bring him up whenever. So we're going to get Steve Krafft up here next. So, Ashley, yes, I do like to offer sweets. I have been accused of being a sugar pusher, but that's not exactly the case. I just, when I bring in donuts, I bring in some of the best donuts in town. I like to share. I think people enjoy them, even if they protest, and I had one for Nicole, and it sounded like it was a good start to her day. So, hello, Steve Krafft.
What's up, Jeff?
Want to join us, sir? Well, we're getting the topic of donuts, and I will return to that topic after we talk with your good self. So let's get your microphone on. Boom. And what have you been looking at today, good sir?
Well, I've been working on a story about donuts. No, I've been working on a story about solar power. And solar power in the West Valley. Well, I wish it were donuts, but it's not. Solar power in the West Valley, kind of a novel place to put it, and a smart use of land so as not to despoil our pristine Sonoran Desert.
I love the idea. So we have a lot of sun on it. Before we get into this, I do want to acknowledge your fan club is showing up, DJ Krafft.
Right on. Hey, guys.
Yeah. So one of the nice things, we've got a very loyal, great group in the chat room, and when you come up here, they give shout-outs for Team Krafft here. So
That is wonderful. Hey, everybody.
okay, so do you want me to run this?
Yeah, sure. Let's run this, and I can tell everybody what it is.
All right.
It's right next to the State Route 85 landfill, which is, I learned today, where Phoenix dumps its trash.
Oh,
And
trash is nice.
there's a huge amount of land there. This is just south of the Lewis Prison on the west side of State Route 85. And all that is going to be turned, those are all solar panels in those boxes on those pallets and crates, and they're all going to be kind of laid out there in a solar array. They're working on it right now. You can see some of the work done right there. Now this is land that kind of belonged to the landfill, and they worked out a deal where they could use that land and just turn it into a place to harness the power of the sun, because the landfill has enough space to do what it needs to do for quite a while, and they had this extra space there that was part of the initial land deal, and they're using it. And it's a complicated project to set up, and you have to be really careful, and it's highly technical. They're very skilled. They'll be done by sometime in late May, and it will provide power for 2,500 APS customers. And I learned that this is one of 9 projects around the state, and some of them are really, really huge. And all told, about 250,000 customers are getting energy, APS energy, from the sun. And, I mean, this is the Valley of the Sun, right? So why not use it?
It is, and we have how many days of sunshine a year?
300. But who's counting? Lots and lots and lots. It's always sunny.
It's hard to tell with you. Is that exactly correct?
Yes.
That is. Okay. Not surprised. Steve Krafft knows many, many things. Yes. Yes,
Well,
you do.
anyway, so it's sunny. Everybody knows it's relentlessly sunny most of the time.
Yes. So now, I assume these boxes are the panels they're putting in.
Right. And they come from China, a lot of them. And it's funny because it's good you mentioned that, because construction has been slowed down by this trouble getting ships into the port at Long Beach because there was a labor dispute. Longshoremen weren't getting the deal they felt they needed to get. They finally worked that out, but a lot of deliveries have been slowed down coming in to that California port and then to places like here. And that's what they're installing. These are photovoltaic solar cells. These just use the light of the sun to convert it into power. There are other types of solar panels that use heat as well from the sun to convert into power.
So now, do these track the sun? Do they move, or are they just static?
These look to be static from what I could discern from these guys. But I have to tell you that we were tightly we couldn't really get close, so we used our camera to get close. Mm-hmm. But they're very, very careful about not letting us too close to mess anything up. So a lot of the specifics I don't have, technically, the technical specs.
Interesting. Now, what's going to happen to the ground under it? So this is a landfill. There's garbage underneath. There's dirt on top.
That's just land that was purchased as part of the landfill deal. But they're not using that. And that's just regular land that's just been sitting there. And there's a lot of vacant land south of the prison complex. Just to the north of this is a huge pit that has been dug into the ground. That's where the trash is being dumped. And they took all that dirt to make this pit, and then they built almost looks like really 200-foot tall hills that are actually, that's the dirt that they dug out to make the landfill. And all the trash in Phoenix goes to that place. It's collected at these, you've seen these various points around town where they process the trash, and from those collection stations, it then goes to this landfill. And if you caught the wind just the right way, there are a couple magic moments. It's a good thing that it's kind of out away from everything else, But it's very well done, very well engineered. That's for sure.
So, how come they don't put the panels on the mounds themselves?
That I don't know. I don't know why they don't put it on the mounds. Maybe they just want this particular dedicated spot where it's not going to be jostled or tampered with or moved around.
Stability too. I know they pack down those landfills quite a bit, but still there's a lot of shifting and rotting and gases and all kinds
that's
of
true
stuff.
Because there are these about every 25 yards or so there were these places where excess gas could come out and then we collect it at the end, and it's constantly churning and doing stuff. So
yeah, I'm glad to see it, even if it is. I thought it was the whole landfill. I'm glad.
It's right next to it. Yeah, it's right next to it.
But, in our state, somebody asked when we're putting an air-conditioned dome over Phoenix. Mm-hmm. That might be a while out there. I'm going to go on a limb. I'm not a civil engineer, but I'm going to guess that's probably not very efficient.
I don't think that would work very well.
I'm going to go on a limb on that one.
Yeah.
However, I think something like mandating, every rooftop have solar panels. In fact, I want to say there was somewhere that enacted this where every rooftop either had to have basically grass on top or a green, top or solar panels. And if we did that, there is a whole lot of rooftop. When you fly into the valley, you just see, all this white and brown just looking back at the sun. And if even a fraction of that was covered in solar panels, it would provide a lot of power.
Yeah, there's some of it out there, but wow, there's sure a lot more they could do. And I know the technology is getting a lot better with these panels.
It is in leaps and bounds. I know more people now with solar power on their homes than ever before.
Yeah.
And we're a perfect place for it. If we're looking at alternative fuels and we want, to reduce oil dependency, and, especially here in the summer when our air conditioning bills, even without the dome, are incredibly high.
Yeah.
getting more solar power up there seems like a great way to supplement it.
And
So.
they're working on it, and they're kind of trying to protect the desert as much as they can. There's a huge development over by Gila Bend. Have you ever driven out there on Interstate 8, I think it is?
It's been a while, but yes.
I mean, it is vast. And this is a big one that I saw today, but the one out there is much bigger. It's probably 5 times the size. It takes a good long time to drive past it. So there's a real push in this direction for sure.
Well, thank you very much. Anything that we missed or anything else you want to add on here, sir?
No, we're doing this story at 5:30, again at 9 o'clock tonight, and I learned a lot more than I'd ever known just in a day today, about solar panels, about landfills, about engineering, and the elaborate precautions they take. I mean, we were in hard hats and protective glasses and tennis ball green vests, and I wasn't near anything that was moving or falling or anything, but they're so
That was
professional and careful about how that goes.
I saw a picture of you fashion plating this.
Yeah.
Was that on our Twitter?
I think
account
that
or
was on our
Instagram
Instagram
or-
somewhere.
Oh, yes.
I think,
Here we
yeah.
go. Look at that.
Wow, that is distinguished, isn't it?
So I'm going to go, let's see here. Give me a second, and we are going to show that amongst the
There I was.
incredible number of
Yep.
incredible talent that Steve Krafft has,
All right.
and just his DJ skills, here he is, styling out
Wow.
with a, would you call it tennis ball green?
Yeah, I mean, it hurts your eye green to look at.
Yep, and the hard hat and
The
your
hard hat and-
protective shades there. You
Yep.
are looking really in command, and now it looks like a
well.
camera lens that I see there.
Yeah,
So
that's the
is-
most dangerous thing in this picture.
Now, so you are going to be wearing this on your...
No,
tonight? No?
unfortunately not. No, they didn't give it to me. I just had to give it back to them when I left the site. This is McCarthy Construction, which is one of the really big construction companies in the United States that is building this. So they were taking us around, along with APS, and then we visited City of Phoenix because they run the landfill. And also, this land was originally owned by the City of Buckeye, and they sold it, rather leased it to the City of Phoenix. There's a complicated financial arrangement. Buckeye gets some money for Phoenix and APS teaming up to use this land in this way. So much more information than anybody probably needed to know, but
Well, it's amazing.
it was kind of cool.
When you go out for the day and you come back with all this extra knowledge in your head and your adventures,
Yeah.
it's good
That's the cool
to-
thing about our jobs, as journalists. That's kind of the fun thing about it. You see a lot of stuff that you'd never see otherwise. I'd just be driving by it. It's a couple miles off the road. I'd never even know it was there. And yet we spent the day checking it out. It was kind of cool.
I love those kinds of stories. We
Yeah.
we had Andrew on with this horrible Goodyear stabbing, and you have to cover those. It's big news.
Yeah.
But this is the kind of stuff I like. It
Yeah.
shows there's things that are going on all across our valley that are big in their own right. But
Yep.
because our valley is so vast, you miss them if we don't get out and do stories on them more. So
Yeah, that's cool. And I like some of these comments that Kel Kohler says I'm doing blue steel. That was my Zoolander impression.
wow.
Not very convincing blue steel. I can't wait for that sequel, by the way.
Yeah,
Zoolander too?
I'm surprisingly interested in that as well.
Didn't you like the first one? It was funny.
I did. It was fantastic. It kind of grew on me. First time
Yeah.
I saw it, I was like, "This is dumb."
Yeah.
And what's his name? I'm blanking on it.
Ben Stiller.
Yes,
and
thank
Owen
you.
Wilson. Yeah.
He's kind of hit or miss. And that one to me was again. Thought it was a miss. Turned out to be a hit.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to that one as well.
Yeah.
So when it comes out, we'll have to get you up here, and you can do the catwalk and
Oh boy.
do your male model.
That's scary stuff.
Yes. Well, thank you, sir.
All right. You got it, man.
Appreciate you joining me again. All right, so now I am going to cover a couple other stories here. I think that's my last guest for now until we get to Dave Muncie with weather. So people chiming in with their temps. It is going to be a warm weekend. I, for one, am frantically trying to do all the things in the yard that I've been neglecting to do, and suddenly I'm in a panic to do because it's going to be 100 and bleep degrees before we know it. So we'll ask Dave about that when he gets up here. In the meantime, bear with me. I have a bunch of video. We had a lot of news the past. Let's get that other mic off. past couple days. And Samia has done a valiant job covering a lot of that, but she didn't get to it all. So I'm going to run some different bits of footage and other packages and so on we have, and love to hear from all of you in the chat room. Any thoughts you have on them? And it's 8 degrees where you are, Nikki. Whoa, where are you? I'm sorry, I missed if you said where that is, but that's a scary thing. I'm originally from Minnesota. I'm a Minnesota boy. Oh yeah, you betcha. And did not care for the snow very much, thanks. Moved to Albuquerque and then moved out here. And I would take the 110 degree days versus the 10 below anytime. London, oh, superb. I haven't been to London in ages. We had someone, I did a Periscope earlier today, had a few people from the UK chiming in. I've got some good friends who are traveling, and we're just in Knutsford? Yes, I think so. Got a postcard from them. So, glad to see the UK representing. Thank you for that. All right, so let's get to some of these packages here. First one, and where's the big old pile of them? Here it is. Okay, the first one that we have here is courtesy of the Fire Department of New York, and this is the fire yesterday and the building collapse, and this is some footage that shows the actual collapse. Let me switch over to that here. Here we go. See, they're working on the fire there on the building on the left. But the building on the right, there it goes. Look at that. Amazing. We've been doing a lot of cleanup on that today. Huge mess. See everybody out there with their phones documenting it. You know, Periscope just launched that day, and everyone, I mean, there were more periscopes and meerkats and everything else of people capturing what was going on, both the fire department at work and the building collapse themselves. It was pretty amazing. And we've talked about periscope and meerkat before. I did one this morning, did a tour of the station, and had some people in the chat room chime in that I'm going to replay the video here, chime in that they thought these things were kind of silly and sort of narcissistic, and they certainly can be, absolutely. But we're getting to a point where anyone can just get involved in the news. If something is happening near you, you can fire this stream up and be viewed around the world, absolutely around the world, in a heartbeat. And this fire was breaking news, and it was a top trending topic on Twitter. And even before I was seeing actual video from a lot of the news outlets, there were people online and on Twitter sharing footage of what was going on. So, so that is the Raider Love. Are we paid to promote Periscope and Meerkat? We're not. We don't get paid to promote anything. I had the same question when I was talking about the Pebble Watch, which I'm a fan of. I'm just naturally enthusiastic about a lot of these toys. I love to play with them, and I find them fascinating. And you'll find that I will talk about them for a while, and then I will move on, or if they really click, I will keep talking about them. So we're not paid for any of these things. If there's a topic you'd love to see us talk about, especially in the tech range, let me know, and I will do my best. I am certainly not biased. This was, Patrick, this is from yesterday. This was the clip we just played, was some video that came out from the fire in New York. It's another topic I was going to get back to. can't remember what it was. So if I remember, I will go back to that. Otherwise, I will go right on down the list. Okay, well, this is a place where Samia is going to be doubly upset that she's not here. One of her favorite topics so Radar says he's never heard about Meerkat. In fact, he's never heard of it before. It's only been out a month. One of the reasons we are talking about it is it has been coming out so fast. It is such a rapidly growing platform and is quickly being adopted by major news organizations, by celebrities. Maybe it is a fad, but right now it is a real big hot one, and in its own way, that's news. Things that are changing the way people talk and communicate globally. It's not news necessarily the same way as some of the trials we cover, but it is news nonetheless. In addition, I know what the thing was I was going to say. Someone asked, how do you find Periscope streams? If you get the app, then you are able to, it'll tell you right on the front. In fact, let me fire it up here. I can show you. Don't worry, I'm not going to start periscoping, although I could. So here's the Periscope app, and it's loading, and you can see a lot of the different streams. Let's see if I can do this. This is like trying to write upside down. People talking about them, and then the people that we're following. And I think this is actually the station's account here, and the streams that they're running. So let's see here if I can find one. So here a little bit more in Nikki's section of the woods, if this picks up correctly. This is Irish Dancing live from Dublin. So So this is what it looks like to watch a Periscope. You can see people chatting, going by. Those hearts that are flying up are people telling them that, yes, they like this particular app. People watching are typing on it. So if it is not something that's for you, totally understand. I mean, that's the great thing about all this kind of stuff is it might not be for everybody, but there's so much out there to choose from. It can still be, there's something out there that will appeal to you. Surprised that Jeff has an iPhone 6. I like Apple products. I like Android products. I do Mac, I do Windows, I do Linux. You pretty much name it, I like it all. I'm really not that into the politics of it all. If something is interesting, compelling, works for somebody, then I am a fan. All right, so let's get on to the topic that Samia is going to regret missing, and that is, drumroll, a bear chase. Yes, a bear on the loose. We had a bear on the loose here in Mesa a couple months ago, I want to say, and I've got some information on this. Pull it up here while we're watching. Let's see. So this was a 4-year-old bear, and oh no, they released the animal. I'm sorry, I'm getting a couple of my stories confused here. Sorry about that.
Officials with the department.
There we go.
Officials with the Department of Fish and Wildlife yell anything at this 4-year-old female bear to discourage it from making friends with its rescuers.
She should have a home range, so hopefully she can reestablish in the appropriate habitat where we put her.
Biologists released the wild animal around 2 a.m. Thursday, just hours after it came tumbling down from Lori Sotelo's tree near Whittier and Bessie and Tracy.
I actually still feel a little anxious just thinking about that actually happened.
Sotelo and neighbor Tiffany Nicholson say they called 911 when they saw these eyes looking down on them.
I picked up the phone and called the police while everybody proceeded to run around and take selfies of themselves with the bear. She seemed really gentle. She was looking at us, but she wasn't moving. She was just kind of like she was just sitting there.
The bear remained up high for 3 hours Wednesday afternoon as biologists, firefighters, and police officers worked to tranquilize her. 4 shots fired, 3 stuck. Then a little before 7 p.m., 1 groggy bear.
I was actually glad that we found it and it wasn't just roaming through my backyard anymore.
Biologists found 2 tags on her, 1 red, 1 yellow, both evidence she had been in their possession before.
Likely it was a nuisance bear at some point, but not necessarily. It could have been an orphan bear when it was a cub.
The bear's 3-day adventure in Tracy has ended after getting hit by a car, strolling through a strip mall, and frightening residents.
Glad he's safe and okay and not hurt or injured after having its gallivant through Tracy.
For Sotelo, a broken branch is now one of the only reminders the wild animal made her tree its home.
We'll have a staple in our front yard of what happened.
So to clarify, that was actually not out here. Yes, we do have a lot of weird stuff happening in Arizona. Radar, I would not argue with that at all. But this is in Sacramento, California. We had a bear that was running around very close to people, again, out here a few months ago. But that was a completely different bear. So it looks like a lot of these bears, because we've been encroaching on their natural habitats, so they come further and further into the city, and this is one that they were trying to rehabilitate and get that out into a place where it's going to be a lot happier. So that was in Sacramento, California. Nikki, have a good evening. Thank you for tuning in. Hope to see you on Monday. So that was one of our stories of a bear on the loose. And oh yes, I've got a special, before we get to Dave at the end here, I've got a special present that I know long-time chat listeners are really going to enjoy. In the meantime, let's go here. This is a story from earlier in the week, and kind of a touching story here about a teacher, a beloved teacher here, and this one is in the Valley, who found out that he had cancer. And when I think back, teachers are an interesting breed. And they get much maligned, and they deal with a lot in terms of the testing, and of course are in the center of a lot of this crossfire with Common Core and everything else. But regardless of how they teach you or what topics they teach you, when a teacher makes an impact on you, when they really touch you somehow, it means a lot. And I think most people, if you really had a teacher who made a difference to you in your life, you remember them. And this is the story of one of those teachers and the people who have been rallying behind him.
Mr. Humbert has this gift where he can be a total goof and command amazing respect all at once.
Band teacher Bill Humbert touched the lives of countless students that walked into his classroom.
He's also the one that taught you those life lessons and those things that we all look back on and say, I am using that now.
He taught at Chandler High for years and now teaches at Glendale Community College. Recently, Humbert was diagnosed with a rare and aggressive form of cancer.
Appendix cancer, based on what our oncologists say, it's not really a curable disease.
His students now giving back to the man they say shaped who they've become today. A GoFundMe account has already raised more than $15,000 to pay for his mounting medical bills.
Every time I think about it, I start tearing up. There's comments and little comments that people can write, and they just thank you, and it's overwhelming.
There's not a whole lot you can give back to a guy who kind of had everything because he was doing what he loved, and here is an opportunity to do that in the best way possible.
That's just overwhelming. We never asked for it, but it's there, and it's exciting just to see that love.
There's no limit to how much love can go back to him.
So a fantastic story there. I mean, he really sounds like the kind of guy who, you want to have in your life, teaching you. Again, he said more than just the topic of band, but life lessons. And somebody who can be silly and serious at the same time. Sounds like my kind of guy. I meant to mention this during the last piece. Somebody commented on my mug, which you saw. I'm a coffee nerd, so I make my own coffee. I've got some beans in my desk, and I use an AeroPress. But it has a bear on it. May your spirit never be tamed. It is orange and green and spectacular. And when I started working here a year ago, my wife bought this for me. She said, I wanted to buy a mug for you that no one would ever steal. And she's right. Pretty much everybody said that is the ugliest mug they had ever seen. Everybody here knows it's my mug. If I forget and leave it in the break room, it's going to find its way back to my desk because nobody has a mug as ugly as this one. So this is my wonderful bear mug, and you may see it once in a while when I'm up here. So that's your Jeff trivia for the day. All right, let's see what we got up here. Oh, boy. Here's an interesting one, and I'm not sure if... Samia played this one or not, but I'm sure you'll all tell me if she did. Here we go.
Sounds good.
Okay. Over the weekend, here in Phoenix, I don't understand any of the last 4 posts. So if you don't understand the last 4 stories we're doing, or you don't understand something in the chat room can get a bit confusing. Chat in there at your own risk. Some great people in there, also a little strange, which is one of the reasons I like them so much. Yes, my wife is awesome. Okay, so our next story came to us over the weekend, over at 67th, I think it was 67th Avenue in Camelback, if memory serves, and it should serve because I saw this about 100 times. Okay, great. So that was just one of the assistant news director here telling me that Dave Muncie will be joining me soon to talk about weather, which is always a fantastic topic, especially as hot as it's going to be. So anyway, we started seeing on our page people posting a picture of the American flag upside down flying outside of a McDonald's. And they were upset. They wanted to know why this was going on. Flying the national flag upside down is a sign of distress. So people wanted to know what was this doing out there? Were they trying to make a statement? Was somebody actually in distress? Were they trying to make a political statement that our country is in distress? And then a Marine went and confronted the manager, the franchise owner, and tried to tear the flag down, basically, to cut the rope and yank it down on his own. And we love it when people see news going on, have a question about something, and post it to our Facebook page, or tweet it at us, or let us know. We certainly can't cover all the stories that come in, but we appreciate leads, and there's only so many eyes that we have here in the newsroom. So finding out something that's going on is great. But wow, did we hear about this flag? I completely lost count of how many people posted this to our flag or to our Facebook page. So we sent a reporter out to look into it. And here's what we found about the American flag flying upside down outside of McDonald's here in Phoenix.
I actually thought it was just plain disrespect that someone would raise our nation, our own nation's flag upside down.
Elias Marzolano, who serves in the military as a reservist in Arizona, says he did a U-turn when his girlfriend pointed out this flag flying upside down outside the McDonald's at 67th Avenue in Camelback Saturday.
I looked around to see if there was anything out of the ordinary.
Flying the flag upside down is recognized as a signal of distress. Marzolano says once he determined there was no problem, he took matters into his own hands.
I actually went to try to lower the flag, but it was knotted in such a way that you couldn't lower it. So I went to the car, I got my knife, and I cut the rope.
Being a Marine myself and going through Vietnam War era, we're gung-ho. Marines are gung-ho, there's no question about it. But we need to, curtail our feelings sometimes and do more logical steps and versus getting overreactive to it.
Franchise owner Steve Lanini says it was an unintentional mistake that could have easily been fixed had Marzaleno gone to a manager first.
If you're familiar with how you fold a flag, sometimes if you get the hooks on wrong and you pull it the wrong way, it goes upside down. It's happened before, I'm sure, over the years, and this one wasn't caught.
Regardless of how it happened, both reservists say that flag never should have flown upside down. They say whoever raised it should have looked up.
No, I'm not disciplining anybody. Matter of fact, to this day, I don't know who did it.
The restaurant now has a sign on the door apologizing for the incident. Lanini says they bought a new rope and will be raising the flag again soon, the correct way.
Believe me, it was a mistake. We don't do that.
All I want people to know is to have basic protocol on to raise our flag and to give our own flag respect.
So really interesting story there, and it started a lot of debate on our Facebook page. And the first question was, how could somebody raise a flag and not notice it was upside down? Personally, I can see it happening. This is probably early in the morning. Probably somebody pretty young was in a rush, had a million jobs to do, and went out and hung it and pulled on the cord, maybe talking to their friends or distracted in some other way, and never looked up. They've maybe done it 100 times before and didn't think this time was any different. Should they have caught it? Absolutely. But you know what? I can see a bunch of young kids or somebody working at McDonald's just being in a hurry and missing it. I think about the things I've done in my life where I look back and go, what was I thinking when I did that? I can see that happening. The other question is, and good afternoon, Terry, should the Marine or should the reservist have actually gone to cut it down? And that's an interesting topic, and some people feel that yes, he absolutely should have gone and done that, but others said, hey, he didn't even talk to a manager, and he went and damaged their property, cut that rope to pull it down, and now they can't actually fly the flag because of it. So I don't know. I'd be curious to hear what you think. Do you buy that it was just an honest mistake, or do you think somebody was screwing around? And what do you think of the reservist who came in there and actually tried to cut it down when he didn't feel it was being corrected fast enough? So my take was, he should have contacted the manager there and seen what they said, and if they didn't reply, that might be a different issue. But this is like I said, a hot topic. This went on for pages and pages and pages on our Facebook page. So love to hear your thoughts one way or another. I see Dave Muncie lurking here. A few more packages after that, but we can bring Dave up as soon as he wanders this way and talk weather. So this is the one challenge of the chat room, is waiting for the comments that I put out there to loop back around. So Alfredo says you're lucky the manager was a former Marine, or he may have pressed charges. Yeah, probably. I mean, I'm sure that helped, and I'm sure it probably helped public perception to know, hey, this was a former Marine. Helps people believe that he really takes this issue seriously, and he wasn't just blowing it off, I think. But even if it hadn't, I've never served, but if this had been, my restaurant, and somebody had cut it down, I'd probably be frustrated, but I wouldn't press charges. I mean, it's just a rope. It's tricky to replace up that flagpole, and I might probably do the same thing this manager said, but I don't think it's something I'd file charges for. Ashley says he should have asked someone inside the establishment to correct it first. He feels it was an overreaction for initial reaction. Rachel says he shouldn't have destroyed property. Sherry said some kid made a mistake and the reservist overreacted. Looks like that seems to be about the general consensus in the chat room. So, and like I said, I tend to agree. I don't think there's any real fault in here. It's just an interesting series of events. We got to the bottom of it, but it was, like I said, the number of times that upside down flag was posted to our Facebook page was staggering over the weekend. It was it was pretty constant. It was hard to actually find other stories and discussions going on because there were so many posts of that flag. So clearly a topic that touched a lot of people, but one that hopefully put to rest. So, all right, looks like Dave is on the other side of the chat room. So let's see what we have coming up here. Got another package for you. This is one about the Arizona Diamondbacks and foods. Let me cue this up.
This is going to be something totally different across America. I've never heard of this type of food in a ballpark.
This year, D-backs fans can chow down on chicken and waffles and fried green tomatoes at Chase Field. Lolo's has been a longtime local favorite, and its owner says being able to serve up his food inside the ballpark is a dream come true.
We're going to try our best not to run out. We're going to overstock and be prepared for anything. We expect every seat, every butt in the seat to come see us.
I can't wait to have the smells of the Southern comfort food and of Southern fried chicken wafting through the air.
The new dining experience also includes America's Taco Shop, Paradise Valley Burger, and Zoyo Neighborhood Yogurt, in addition, of course, to all the ballpark staples.
I think it may be the future of the baseball experience. I think more and more teams are going to go towards bringing in a local flavor, a local angle, but having more than just the traditional ballpark fare.
And if your mouth isn't already watering, then this dessert will do the trick. The churro dog is already trending nationally. It's a warm churro on a glazed donut bun with Zoyo frozen yogurt.
And then it just gets topped with lots of whipped cream. And then drizzled with chocolate sauce.
Executive Chef Michael Snoke says he's looking forward to seeing a lot of satisfied baseball fans and
messy faces, because I know that they're really enjoying it if they're not caring about how their face looks.
well, we love
Aha! Thank you. So I was yelling across the newsroom for Dave, and I had my mic off. So I will go back. Thank you for that, everyone. I appreciate that. That was my impression of a mime to entertain you while we wait for Dave Muncy. How you doing, sir?
Oh, pretty good. What you up to?
Oh, I'm just talking into a mic that was off, you know.
Hey, there you go. I've done that my whole life.
All right, let's make sure you're in the shot. So how are you doing, sir?
Well, take a look at the 10-day and you'll see.
All right, I will bring that up right away. Let's go right to the action.
There you go. Boy, yeah. Now.
So I'm sorry. I thought it was March.
And we are running a little bit outside the norms for this time of year. And we run outside the norms a lot for this time of year. In fact, I'm going to be changing those numbers here in just a few minutes. I'm going to actually add a degree to Saturday and Sunday and take one away from Monday. So
we're getting a little bit
2 steps forward, 1 step back.
Yeah, well, I guess it depends which way you think is forward. So what is our average for this time of year? What should we
79.
That sounds fantastic.
Yes, it does. It sounds great. It's been a few years since we've actually ridden right on the norm. We normally rise above it. We go below it a few times, but for the most part, we ride above the norm especially at this time of year. Even if it's 1 or 2 degrees.
Well, that is, somebody points out that is going to be a hot Easter. Are we in danger of having hard-boiled eggs exploding in baskets here?
I would make sure I got them all. I would sure not leave any out in the yard. That's for sure. Yeah. I would count them and then count them again and make sure you don't leave anything out there as far as leaving an egg out there, because if a dog gets one in a couple of days, or if you find it, it's going to be in rough shape.
Yeah, you don't need to worry about the dog for that. I was about 7 or 8 years old, and after Easter, it was a couple weeks later, and I went out and I found one in the grass, and I was very proud of that.
Oh yeah.
I brought that to my mom, and I was like, "Hey, look at it!" And I cracked that thing open before she was able to stop me, and stink doesn't quite cover it.
Well, yeah, that the one good thing about the odor is it keeps you from eating it. But other than that, and if you leave any chocolate, if you don't get all of the chocolate bunnies, they're not going to survive. Chocolate bunnies don't do well above 80 degrees. So
the nice thing about them, though, is that you can still eat them no matter what horrible shape their bodies have mutated into.
Yes. Well, so the 3-second rule isn't exactly in effect here as far as something touching the ground.
Very true. So what is the earliest that we've ever... It doesn't look like we're in danger of hitting 100, but what is the earliest?
March 26th.
Wow, so we have...
Yeah, I'm not sure of the year. I'm trying to think of the year, but March 26th, to my knowledge right now, in my little pea brain, as I'm trying to remember back, March 26th is the earliest 100-degree temperature that we've had. So we've passed that day.
Well, that's good news.
There could be an earlier one. I would have to look it up, but
I didn't mean to put you on the spot there. I realized
yeah.
as I said
no, that's
that,
okay.
I'm like suddenly throwing you weather trivia. It's
no, I don't mind being on the spot. That's just, it's not something that I know off the top of my head. I do know that March 26th is one of the earliest ones, if not the earliest one that we've had. But we passed that date now, so we could have a 100, and we're not going to break any records on early 100s.
Well, I'm not looking to break that record. Don't get me wrong. This is, I don't mind the weather too much. It just seems early. I like my windows open at night and so on for a while. And if this is the trend, we'd be past that at no time.
Well, you have to also look at the records trend, and that is as we go into the weekend, the record for tomorrow is 95. The record for Sunday is 95. No, it's 97. Or wait a minute, 95, and then 97 is the record for Sunday. So we're not going into any uncharted territory here. We've been here before with this, so yeah, it's not unusual for these things to happen, as is evidenced by the records. But these things do happen occasionally. We live in the desert, and things are a little warmer every year. We've noticed that things are just a little warmer every year as we move into this time of year. And then a couple of years ago, we had a very warm beginning. We had a very warm April. We had a very warm beginning of May. And then toward the end of May, I think we hit a couple of 70s, upper 70s, low 80s. So, anything can happen in weather. Weather is an ever-changing situation.
Very true. Now, does it look like past this, it's going to cool down a bit? We're going
Nope.
to get closer to normal? Okay.
I was just giving good encouragement there is all I was doing. Yes, I do see it. I see it coming off at 95. Those temperatures will come back off at 95. We'll get into the 90s and the upper 80s again here in the foreseeable future in the 10-day forecast. We'll see temperatures back off just a little bit. But like I said, this time of year, anything can happen. It does start to warm up at this time of year. But no, I don't see a real cooling trend. I see temperatures not as warm as they are right now, but yeah, I would hesitate to say that I see a cooling trend right now.
All right, well, I'm not going to ask you any more questions because you just give me the answers that make me sad. So somebody told me there wasn't a Santa Claus, but I'm not even going to ask you that.
There you go. Well, I'll tell you, if there's not a Santa, then the Easter Bunny doesn't have much of a chance, does he? So we can't go starting stuff like that.
Wait, what? No Easter Bunny either?
Yeah, there you go.
Oh,
I would never say that, but my warning to the Easter Bunny is when you're in Arizona, watch where you put those eggs, especially when you're dealing outside.
Yeah, make sure you get a accurate count. So, all right. So we've got a whole bunch of Easter talk going on in the chat.
Yeah, a lot of people talking about it. It's funny because you tend to I lose track sometimes of what you and I are talking about because I'm reading things here in front of me here from people.
It's great, but it's also distracting. And I've had people tell me, because we've got the camera right over the monitor, and I've got the chat up right below it, that it looks like I'm looking down all the time, and I have to remember to look up into the camera here. You're probably used to that with prompters and everything else, but it's an amateur hour up here for me. I'm still learning. So
I really don't pay much attention to it. I don't I think when I'm on the camera, I don't pay much attention to the camera. I'm not really looking at it or realize that it's there to the point that it's distracting or anything. But I have a tendency to get distracted here by reading these things. And then all of a sudden you're talking and I go, oh, that's right, we're on air here, we're doing something. And I'm reading away going, oh, okay. So that's where my distraction comes in. And you know what it is? It's hearing from the people. That's what's so interesting. These people are all making comments.
Well, and it's great because it makes television or the version of it that we're doing here interactive. People can respond. There's this lag, which is a little bit tricky. But, people can give you feedback and ask questions, and you've got people comparing the temperature, and you've got the other nice thing is these people are from all over the world.
Oh yeah,
UK, and we've got someone from Canada. They're talking about how warm it's going to get up north. So Karen's saying you broke my heart with the harsh truths. I don't know if she's talking about the weather temperatures.
It's not the first heart I've broken, believe me.
Oh, yeah. Somebody said they want to go have a beer with you. So.
Well, there you go, and that would be, of course, to cool off. That's what we would be doing that for.
Yes, it's
to have a nice frosty one.
Yes. So, all right. Well, any plans for you this weekend?
Well, yeah, I do. I'm going to a little get together on Saturday with some friends. One of them who is retiring, and so we're going to visit with them for a while, and then I'm going to watch the U of A game against Notre Dame on Saturday. Isn't that on Saturday that we have that?
So.
Yeah. So that's going to be exciting, and then I think that since I have Saturday pretty tied up, we'll let my wife decide what we're going to do on Sunday.
Yeah, I have to split that as well sometimes. I make a bunch of plans, and once I get the look, I'm like,
it works. It works better that way.
Yes.
When you have certain things you need to do on a particular day, you go, well, then you can have the other day, and we'll see how that goes.
We did have a while back, I think someone request Maya Merlot on the set. So when you bring her in sometime, I think I've only actually met her once. You brought her in around Christmas.
Person, yeah.
Yes.
We brought her in around Christmas time, and she went crazy. She just went up and down the aisles and met everybody. She's a very well-behaved, good little girl, but she does get excited around people, doesn't she?
Everybody was here to meet her.
Yeah,
and that seemed to be exactly the case.
People were very excited to see her, but she gets very hopped up over personal appearances, that's for sure. She really likes them. So you never know. We may bring her in someday and put her on. We didn't have the web then, or I would have brought her over, or this particular web program at that time. Did we, when I brought her in?
No, we did not.
Yeah.
We did not. We were just getting it. I think we were building it out.
So there we go.
So if you bring her in sometime,
we'll make sure we bring her on.
We'll get a remote camera so we don't. I don't think she's a little bit big to heft up in front of the camera here. How much does she weigh?
Oh, she's not really that big. She looks a little bigger than she is because she has that real kind of fluffy poodle hair. She's a poodle golden mix, and she only weighs 53 pounds.
Only.
But yeah, well, that's not. That's. I've had dogs that have weighed 75 pounds and upwards. I've had German Shepherds and Golden Retrievers, which can get a little hefty. Especially the Goldies get a little heavy when they get a little older. They tend to put on a little weight. But 53 pounds is a small dog for me. I think she is anyway. But we'd get her in here and she'd pop right in between us. Look up. She's not camera shy.
No, she doesn't seem to be shy at all. And if you don't follow Dave on Twitter, you're missing out on both his weather forecasts and predictions and his adventures and the wonderful Maya Merlot. And your Twitter account is?
What now? Yeah, you got me there.
All right.
Is it?
So,
you'll have to tell me. You'll have to tell me. I think it's Dave dot Muncie at. Is that what it is? Dave dot Muncie at.
So everybody here has Fox 10,
Fox 10
and some variation of their.
Dave dot Muncie at fox10.com, I think, or something like that.
Fox 10 Dave.
Oh, Fox 10 Dave.
There you go. So the trick is, everybody here has Fox 10 and some variation of their name, but some people have their first name and last name, and some just one. So
we use Maya just about every day. We did a poll and decided which one was the better looking one. And that's the one we use most every day. That's her eyeballing my breakfast this morning.
I can't really blame her for that.
Yeah.
I think this is a better picture of her here. Look at that.
She's catching some shade right there. That's all the water safety stuff. But here, keep going down. There's one good one right there. That was National Puppy Day there. She loves her dad.
Yes, she does.
Yeah.
She's fantastic.
She's a good little girl. We see a lot of that. We see her, well, just about every day. We're going to put her in there in some situation so that people can get a look at her and not see so much of me.
Well, and there's people here in the newsroom. There's people on our web team who monitor our Twitter accounts, and they live for the.
They do. Yes,
in the
they love the Maya pictures.
Yeah. Oh, what's she got here?
Oh, she's got her favorite outdoor toy. We have outdoor and indoor toys.
Well, of course, yeah. I wouldn't want to,
We don't want to mix them up. Don't want to mix them up. That's for sure.
On a scale from 1 to 10, how spoiled is this dog?
That's St. Patrick's Day with green water in the bowl as well.
Grief. So on a scale from 1 to 10, how spoiled is this dog?
About a 12.
Yeah, that's kind of what it's
maybe a 13. But you have to understand, she's very well behaved. So it's okay to spoil a well-trained dog. It's not like she's getting away with anything. We're coming up on one of my favorite pictures. This isn't it, but this is her at the groomer. But keep going, right there.
Oh yes.
This one is called Maya Takes a Walk on the Wild Side.
Yeah, she is a rebel. You say she's well behaved, and then we see this evidence.
Yeah, I know. I should have watched that. She is. She does have kind of an attitude about her. And she does flaunt the rules every once in a while. But yeah, there she is walking on the wild side. Just absolutely flagrant disregard for the no dogs allowed sign.
All right. Well, thank you for joining
us, you bet.
Sir. I've got a few other things to cover, but I appreciate you
I've got some things to do. You bet, Jeff. Good talking to you. And Maya will appreciate it, too. She loves publicity.
All right. Well, let me know what we're talking about and give her some headlines for me.
Okay.
All right. So, and see, we had a religious debate breaking out in the chat room. So again, be nice, people. Looks like everybody's being pretty good in there, but yeah, religion and politics, two topics where things get a little crazy, a little fast. All right, let's see what we have here. I think I've got two other stories. If you want to hang with me for a little bit more. Let's see. This one is a bit of a sad one here. This is a story that Samia did cover before about a man who is now the lone father of quads. And I will take you to the story and let it pretty much, in him, speak for itself.
Carlos Morales here, just getting home from work. But for this 29-year-old, it's the start of his most important job yet.
Just relax, little baby.
A single father of newborn quadruplets.
Anytime I come home, I look forward to see the babies. I know it's gonna be hard, but I was expecting my wife to be here with me.
Erica Morales, the love of his life, brought the babies into the world safely, but never got the chance to hold them. She died just hours after giving birth. Still, Carlos finds hope in Carlos Jr. Paisley, Tracy, and little Erica.
I got 4 reasons right here. The 4 little babies that they just keep me going.
Friends have stepped in to help, starting an online campaign, raising thousands of dollars for the Quadruplets.
I'm really thankful for that, and I feel blessed for that.
Erica's mother moved in and juggles a new life raising children with her son-in-law.
It was nothing that he wasn't going to do to not please her. And I knew that these kids were going to get that same love and then attention that he gave his wife, my daughter.
It's not the love story Morales imagined, but indeed a love story nonetheless.
I can't even explain how much I love these 4 little babies. I just want the best for them. Everything that my wife wants for them, I'm going to make sure that happens.
So this story for me has a lot of mixed feelings in it. It's a horribly tragic story in what happened to his wife, and but also there's a lot of hope in there. I mean, this man is really going through, I can't even conceive of how rough a time that is, and yet is strong and is, caring for these 4 small children, and finding a way forward. And sometimes that's just what you have to do, is find a way to move on, and that's what he's doing. And it's a very powerful story with a little bit of sadness and a little bit of hope in it. So wanted to play that update with him, and that was our Jessica Flores on that particular story. So the question in the chat room, are they natural quads or in vitro? I'm not sure offhand. Not sure off the top of my head. Oh, let's see what we have here. Oh yes, is this the full thing? It's edited, okay. Alright, we have here, and this is interesting. Haha. This is a absolutely bananas video, and I wish I just saw Troy going by here, and I think he's pretty swamped coming up on the 5, so he can't get up here because I don't have some input on it. This is a car chase, I think about some material on it here, out of Georgia. Yeah, and let's see, cops in Albany, Georgia were chasing a vehicle, and it spanned 3 counties. Marathon chase started when Williams, let's see, where is he? William Owens allegedly pointed a gun at a man during an armed robbery and sped away in a Toyota Tundra. And then he was pursued. Man, I wish I could find this whole video because it is amazing. So he's pursued by multiple police officers. It starts on a rural road. I'll let it speak for itself from here. But it is absolutely incredible. I watched this morning, saw it online, started watching it, and I was yelling at the screen at some of the stuff that happened. My wife came in, what the heck's going on? I've been online a long time. I'm seeing a lot of stuff. If I'm yelling at the screen, things are getting a little bit nutty. So this is an edited version. I will show you what we have here, and if there's any audio with it or not, we'll find out. count the police officers that show up. Yeah, so a couple things. Start right at the top. Apologies for any eardrums damage there. It is sometimes a little bit tricky, especially with the video and things that we play, to understand what volume they're going to come out at. This is a dash cam from one of the police officers. The full video that I saw, let's see if I can find it real quick. I don't know where I saw it. It goes on for about 15 minutes. And the let's see, give me a second. Here we go. All right. So now I am going to see if I can get some of the other highlights of this. And I have the sound off, the audio off on this. And you can see here, I think on this one, how fast. So here's the police officer on the side of the road. Watch how fast this truck comes. It's pulling back off the road, and the video freezes. No. There he goes. That dude is moving. So yeah, bad boys, what you gonna do? So fast forward a little bit here, and some of what we saw, and he gets into a more urban area, and they chased him for quite a while. The pit maneuvers that some people are talking about in the chat room, where they're trying to come up and take out the back part of the car there. Let's see where he gets downtown. This is the part that was getting me a little bit. Yeah, okay, here we go. So this was something that was missing from the shorter video that we saw, where look at him, he's just going right through lights, blowing through traffic, goes past a school bus. And you're watching me just narrate this. All right. This is where the chat lag is an extra problem, so we're going to try that again. All right. Well, see, that was intentional, having you watch me and not the video. I wanted you to visualize it in your mind. It's the theater of the mind. So now hopefully you are seeing the video, and we'll try this again. All right, so at least my mic was on that time. There we go. So now you actually got to see how fast that truck really was moving. And I'm going to go ahead and skip ahead. The advantage of me having to do this twice is that you get to see. I'm saving you some of the time here. So here's where he gets into the city. And you'll see exactly how much danger he puts people in as he goes along. Now, the pit maneuvers they were talking about, trying to take some of these cars out. I see a cop there on the side of the road. They have special cars that can come out and are used to do that pit maneuver, where they try to take out the back of the vehicle here. You can see where he gets into town. And he's going along slow, but then he just starts rolling through intersections. Right through a red light there. Look at all those cars backed up the other way. All it would take is one person taking a left-hand turn, and it could have been a lot worse. Watching this whole video, he misses person after person. There's some people, looks like there might have been a wreck, blows through that intersection, going right down the middle. I feel like a football announcer here. But this is a whole heck of a lot more serious. And there's been some discussion about why they were chasing him like this in such a crowded urban area. And I think the having waved a gun at somebody, knowing he's armed, and the amount of people that he's putting at risk, I'm guessing the police really did not have a whole lot of choice. So there's at least one bus. So, the number of and more police coming in here, trying to take him out. Just the sheer number of people that this guy puts at risk, and the fact that there's no. So there's a first attempt at a pit maneuver there. And this is again where Troy would be great. I know he's seen a whole lot of these things, and he'll give me more commentary, but he just keeps on rolling. Like another intersection. That was a red light he just blew through. Cops in pursuit. Ashley says, yeah, the traffic did a good job staying out of the way. I would say it's almost a miracle that nobody was hit. Again, he's just going down the median at just incredible speed. Further forward, he's turning again. Just the sheer number of cars. Here he comes. Cut through a lot there. Then you got another vehicle. And the audio here, which I don't want to turn on, so I don't blind anybody. Deafen anyone, I should say. They're talking about getting the other cars back that aren't pit certified. You can see the bumpers they have on those. Looking to take that vehicle out. So let's see. Somebody asked Joe, do police in America never give up on a chase? A lot of controversy about that. A situation like this, is it better to, if somebody else he just barely missed, to let them get away or pursue? A lot of times if they have aerial support and they get a helicopter up to look at them, they'll do that, or try to get ahead of them. But knowing this person was armed and the amount of people who already put at risk, I think it was getting to the point where they were feeling he needed to be stopped. Because doing a pit maneuver with this many people around, trying to get him to spin out, I mean, look at this. This is like a video game. It is absolutely insane. Another school bus right down the middle. This is one of the craziest things that I'd seen. This is where I was just sitting there going, oh, geez. And in just a second here, he will get finally taken out, and that's what we saw a second ago. So, and then there he is getting taken out, and just watch the number of police. I would say all the police pop out, and they're not messing around at all. They're still moving that vehicle, pushing it, making sure it's completely out of commission, and just smashing that window open. Looked like he had his hands up, but they are taking no chances, and I do not blame them at all. So again, apologies for the miss on the video there. I was calling that up and forgot to switch the thing back. I think I've talked before. There's a Sami about the number of buttons up here, and that's why I try to sit in once in a while. Helps me keep on top of these things, more or less. All right, so I think that is the last package that I have. I'm glad I pulled that up. I know we had the chase video, but I didn't realize which one it was. It's kind of strange when I see something in the morning as I'm just getting ready and eating breakfast online, and then I find out I'm reporting on it in the afternoon. And the last thing I wanted to talk about, where is it? I'm looking for the last package I wanted to talk about. I do not see it, so I'm going to see if I can grab it. Patrick, you say you're headed out for the day. You have a fantastic day, and let's see if I can. Oh, hold on for just one moment. So we're going to check on my last one that I wanted to get up there. I'm going to be really disappointed. I can still tell you about it. Somebody actually spoiled my surprise earlier, but that's not a big deal. Appreciate all of you hanging with me today. So I back up on Sami. I've been on the air for about an hour and 40 minutes. Nothing like Samia's record, but still nice to hop in the chair. I enjoy doing this quite a bit. I don't know if I could ever actually do just the normal on-air stuff all the time. It's too one-way for me. And I've done those. If you watch Fox 10 locally, you'll see me on the air once in a while. I'll be on the air 8 o'clock, about 8:10 actually, Monday morning, talking about, guess what? Meerkat and Periscope, but I'll be actually talking about it on the air. So the secret convo, Alfredo, was just me trying to see if this last package was available. Sometimes it takes a little while to get something exported from our system, and if not, then I will just tell you. So I'm not seeing it show up yet, so rather than stalling any further, our wonderful, wonderful llamas. Yes, the white llama and the black llama from The Great Escape, which many of you watched live as it happened. That was a very, very odd day around here as they escape, but they are going to be at an event this weekend where you can go and see them in fuzzy person and get hissed at or spit at. You know, llamas, they're not always the friendliest of creatures. And I don't know. Still not seeing it. So I might just go ahead. I could play the... oh, Steve tells me it's on the way, so I will wait for a minute. We could play the llama music video. But you're probably all quite sick of hearing that. Something like 28 million people saw that on Facebook, and which still is something that blows my mind. All right. So Ashley, it's okay. It's late in the afternoon on a Friday, and well, for some people even later. So it is no problem if you don't know how to spell Samia's name or my name or any of our names. That's good old llama drama. So while we're waiting for this package to come in, what is everyone up to this weekend? I have a rescue event, and yeah, I guess we could do that, get some ideas here. We do a lot of dog rescue, so we're doing an event for one of our rescue organizations, going out and helping them. I've got some friends in town that I'm going to meet up, and there's something called Cupcake Camp that's coming up Sunday here in the Valley. It's down at Cahoots, down on Washington. If you are interested in checking that out and you are in the Valley, Cupcake Camp. It might have, as you can guess, cupcakes. You can just come down, meet people, and oh, so it looks like Samia's dodging tires and someone out on the road, so I hope she's doing well. Rachel's cleaning and grocery shopping and cleaning, not just cleaning but double cleaning. That is dedicated to cleanliness. And Samia's SK and me JM, that's absolutely fine. Jonathan's also helping with the dog rescue. Going to the South Texas State Fair. Texas is so big that it has a South State Fair, probably a North State Fair. Alright, Jonathan's going to be tweeting pics and posting via Instagram. Always a great way to spend a weekend. Anyone else chiming in? It sounds like Sami is okay. Just when you are driving that long ride between Phoenix and California, you get a lot of debris out there on the road, and some of it is can be a bit messy. I had some friends who were truck drivers, and for a while, and they told me there were names for a lot of those things. Like if you found the shred of a tire, sometimes you see just the shred of a tire that was ripped off or something. I guess that was called a road gator, I think is what they called that. So because of the whole back of it and so on. So still want to be careful of those. Oh, Alfredo says State Route 89 has officially opened. I am glad to hear that. So if anyone is looking to head out of town, that is good news. And still didn't see the package. Sometimes it takes a while to request the material from our system. Oh, and I am informed that we have the package. Oh, here we go. Dun dun dun. Alright, let me pull this up. Make sure I actually bring up the video this time. Important tip. And say hello to some familiar fuzzy faces.
Sun, gazing out at the beautiful terrain, they seem to have a calm about them, a very different demeanor than the first time we met the two llamas.
It was very traumatic, and I was really embarrassed that they got loose.
Owner Karen Fenn says it started out as an ordinary day. They took the llamas to Sun City to visit a friend, a former handler himself, and left the llamas around his retirement community to visit with residents.
Everything was great, put the llamas away, and then some of his friends showed up late and wanted to see the llamas. My husband took Kanita, the white one, out, handed it off to our friend, and as he was holding her, something spooked her, and she stepped back, knocked him off balance, and he went to the ground and started to drag him.
The back of the trailer was unlocked, and Lainey followed suit, the llama drama unfolding for all the world to see.
By the time I got home, I found out it had gone global.
Now that things have settled down, the llamas will be making an appearance at Turf Paradise at the camel and ostrich races. They won't be running this time, even though most fans would probably bet the llamas would win. Anita Roman, Fox 10 News.
Oh yes, those llamas. And I was laughing. I was honestly surprised they had the music in there from our little musical. So that was a goofy thing that I worked on as that was unfolding. They didn't have it at hyper speed, but they did actually use the William Tell Overture, or the, what do you call it, the Lone Ranger theme song, as some people like to refer to it. And I will actually call up that musical video. I don't know if anyone wants to watch it. You let me know. If I can get 4 yeses to play the music video, Llamas the Musical, I'll do it. Otherwise, I will spare you all and move on and wrap things up. So that is the bulk of everything I have here. I think we covered the update on that horrible stabbing out in Goodyear, and the solar landfill, piece of land next to a landfill on the west side of Phoenix that's getting filled with solar panels to provide power. And saw some great video from the New York building collapse. A bear being released, an amazing video chase, both the actual video and the narrated theater of the mind version of that, the upside down flag, and a whole lot more. So I appreciate you joining me. Oh, we've already got a no. Joe does not want to see the music video again. Oh, we got a yes. Need 4 yeses. Oh yes, and other news I know it's been discussed in the chat room. Amanda Knox and Rafaela Solicito were acquitted, which I know made a lot of people very happy. Oh, we've got a Google Feud request instead. We can do that real quick. We'll do 1 round of Google Feud. Alright, so let me get this set up. Okay, and 1 round only because it's Friday. And you people are fantastic, and you've been hanging with me and working with me through mic problems and everything else. So, on to the Google Feud. For anyone who has not seen Google Feud, this is a... I want to put on my game show voice. Welcome to Google Feud. Google Feud is a game based off of the Google search engine. When you type your queries into Google, Google looks at what you're talking about and tries to guess the answer to your query before you finish typing. What this game does, not affiliated with Google, is take the top answers that people have searched for out on the web and put those into a Family Feud style game. So first you pick a category, and then you guess the top answers. So what we're going to be doing is picking a category and then asking the chat room for answers. I will pick the first one because of the chat lag, and then we will go back to people out in the room to see if we can answer the category. All right. So we've got a request for the people category. This is my radio announcer voice if you haven't figured it out. Okay, we've got people, questions, people, cultures. Ashley says I sound like Mr. Movie Phone. If you think I sound like Mr. Movie Phone, press 1. If you think I don't sound like Mr. Movie Phone, press 2. All right, we are going to go with not my favorite category, but people is the one people have selected the most. Oh, did I click questions by mistake? Because I don't know how this could possibly be people. I think I swallowed A. And even if it was a question, I am not going to ask for answers on that question from the chat room. Sorry, guys. People. What the... Okay. I'm going to do that one more time. Okay. This is the people button. I think Google Feud is drunk. Because I don't know. I don't like to people. Right. Well, you know what? We're going to go with it. So, how does Google autocomplete this query? I don't like to. So you come up with items in the chat room, and I will figure out my own. I don't like to cry. Oop, I stink. 1 strike. Thank you, Jeff Moriarty. You are a big help here. All right, fly, Alfredo, Sherry, both chiming in with that one. We are going to go with I don't like to fly. Oh, no. We have 2. I expected that one to be up there, but it is not. I don't like to Tom Cruise? This is supposed to be the name category. I do not understand what is happening. All right, so I do not like to swallow flies. I don't like to eat bees. I'm going to guess I don't like to eat bees is not up there. But I'm going to say I don't like to work. I don't like to be touched. I don't like to sleep. I don't know what is wrong with Google. Okay, we're gonna change categories because the people category is drunk. I said I was going to do 1, but that did not count. All right, we're going to do I don't know the names here. All right, Adam. All right, Adam. And, okay, Adam is the question. Top 10 answers on the board. Jeff Moriarty, we're going to go to you. What do you think is the number 1 answer? Well, I'm a nerd, so I'm going to go with Adam West, the original Batman. Jeff, that's a fantastic answer. We're going to see if Adam West is up there, and he is not, which just says that people are completely ridiculous. How could you not know or not have Adam up there? All right, from the chat room, do we have any guesses for Adam? All right, Adam Levine. Yes, that is a good one. Adam Levine. Jonathan Blinn, is he going to get us up on the board there? And he is the number 1 answer. Thank you, Jonathan Blinn. Alfredo Pacheco says Adam Sandler, also a good one. Still disappointed that we do not have Adam West, number 2. Boom, we are racking up the scores. We have 19,000 points. 19,000 points. Adam Sandler, So we got that one. Adam Carolla. No. All right. Savage. Nope. Adam Lanza. I don't even know. Adam Driver. Adam Levine wife. Adam Lambert I could have got. Oh, I spelled Corolla wrong. Okay, that one was my bad, but someone else spelled the wrong way in the chat room, so I blame you. All right. So Adam and Eve. All right. Well, that is it. I do not want to go down the rabbit hole of playing Google Feud all afternoon. That takes us right up to the 5 o'clock. So we are going to wrap up here. Thank you very much for joining me. It was a lot of fun. I appreciate your support in chat. And we are going to, if you are in town in Phoenix, you can watch us on Fox 10. You can watch us on fox10phoenix.com. In a few minutes, we'll be streaming live there our newscasts in live stream. Again, if you haven't already, download our app from the for your device, whether it's iPhone or Android. We do not discriminate around here. It's the Fox 10 Phoenix app. You can subscribe to us on YouTube. You can follow us on Twitter. You can follow us on Facebook. And yes, Periscope. But you don't have to. Whatever you want to do, we are here for you. So, thank you for watching. All of you have an absolutely fantastic weekend, and we will see you back here on Monday. Take care.